Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Tuesday Night Live with Independent Harper. I'm located in Sheridan, Oregon, in the United States. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to take a look at some brand new product that will be released at midnight Mountain Time tonight. Or if you're here in the Pacific Northwest, that will be 11 p.m. today. So let's see if we can get on and see who's on. Make sure I cancel out that extra sound. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, Facebook is going to do this to me again, where I cannot get into my video. What is up with that? I can't get in and see the comments. Okay, let's try something else. See if I can go this way. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why Facebook keeps not letting me on. And maybe it's, well, I couldn't do it on my iPad last week, though, because it wouldn't let me see that either. Nope, tells me my page is not available. There's a technical error. Oh, my goodness. Okay, what do we do? You know what? Let me get out of Facebook and go back in and see what happens. Hopefully I can get in and see who's on. Hi, Tracy. I have to look in my phone, and that's really not going to work out very well. So let's see if we can. I don't know why Facebook has to be that way. Okay, let's see. Nope, still isn't going to let me on there. Oh, man. No, come on, go back. What are you? I don't want that. Nor do I want that. Come on. Let's go this way. Nope. That's going to take me straight to my page, which probably isn't going to let me work either. Nope. Oh, man. Why? Okay, well, I don't know what to do. Let's just see comments. I do not know why it is doing that. So let's see if I can get on here. And get on. Okay, let's see. Turn that down and see if I can somehow get to the comments. Well, it says I'm all caught up, but I haven't seen a thing, so. Oh, there we are. Hello, Cynthia. Hello. Well, I'm glad you can see and hear me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have a hard time with comments because for some reason, Facebook will not let me look at the comments on my home page. It keeps redirecting me to saying that I just can't get on. So let's go your shortcuts. And then it takes me to manage. And then it won't let me. Let me see if I can do it that way. Nope. No, that page isn't available. Okay, well, we're just going to have to wing it. Live chat. Let me see if I can. Come on, Facebook, help me. There. Well, we're just going to have to wing it. It's one of them days. It's okay. Okay. So Amber Autumn is the stamp set that we're going to be looking at first this evening. And this is in the September to December mini catalog. And I'm trying one more thing, you guys. Trying to get back on. Okay. Let's just search. I don't want to be on my page because it won't let me in. Oh, there. Oh, got it. Got the comments. Why do we have to fight so much? Okay, good. All right. So Amber Autumn, part of the Autumn Toile Suite. That is a mega suite. And we are going to make, you guessed it, a nice autumn card. So this is our color palette tonight. And you guys, my stomach is not doing well, so excuse me if you hear any minor belching. My stomach has been a mess all day. So we've got Old Olive, Cajun Craze, Darling Duckling, and Early Espresso. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Laura. Okay, so in addition to Amber Autumn, we're also going to be using the branching out dies. These are also in the September to December online mini catalog that releases tonight. There also is a complete selection of online exclusives also releasing tonight. So again, that new product goes live at midnight, 12:01 a.m. Mountain Time or 11:01 p.m. here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay. So Russ, we're going to start with an early espresso card base. This is a standard A2 size, 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it in the center at 4 1/4. We're going to set that aside. Then I've taken a piece of basic white cardstock, and I've taken the large die from Amber Autumn. These are the dies that come on here. There's 5 dies. You get these 2 cut out stamped images. These are extra. And then this one cuts out this beautiful frame. So I went ahead and pre-run that through. Okay. And this is what it looks like. I'll clean that out later. Okay. So this very detailed piece. Okay, so we're going to bring this in. Before we do too much, I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to do my envelope and I'm going to do my inside piece. Okay. So let's find my scratch paper here. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to put this right here. Okay, and I'm just going to lay this down like this. And then we're going to do the same thing on the front. Oh, you know what? I want it to be lighter though. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull this and I'm going to do this. And then I'll just use the ink that's left on the brushes and that will be more efficient. Okay, so we're just going to put this down. I'm going to start with some Old Olive. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that though, we need to take and mask off our sides because I want a nice white border. So I'm just going to run that along that edge. You can use Post-it tape, masking tape, anything that's going to, washi tape, that'll lay down nicely. And I'm just going to mask all four sides. Do a little Technique Tuesday here. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it down there, nice even border if you can. Then we're going to take some Old Olive and a blending brush. And I'm going to go in and randomly add some Old Olive here. Okay. And when I get that done, I'm going to move Early Espresso out of the way because we don't need it for this portion. Then we're going to take some Darling Duckling. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to randomly add some Darling Duckling here, and you can go as dark or as light as you like. And then we're going to take Cajun Craze. And we're going to fill in where we don't have color. Okay, so now we have this beautiful piece. All right, and we can remove our masking tape. And I just am putting this here beside me, and I'll reuse this again. Okay. All right. So now there is our focal image for our card, or a background. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, and I'll flip it over. I'm going to get the inside of my card here. And I'm just going to take and put a little bit of Old Olive, a little bit of crushed curry. And I remember I'm using the back side. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. Okay, and that's just going to give my inside a little bit of color there. Okay, so now let's take our envelope. And we're going to do the same thing, but this time, mask this real quick. We're going to do this real light again, but I want to leave my edges white. And I don't necessarily want to have to think about it too much. So, I've still got some color on my glass mat here. And I need to go light because I do need to be able to write the address and stuff here. And I'm not going right in the very center. Okay, so now we've got that. And okay. Okay, so now that piece did double duty. We have a matching envelope, matching inside, and all with blending brushes and a little bit of ink. Okay, now we can go ahead and we can actually attach this at this point. So before we get ink where we don't want it, let's take our chamois from our glass mat studio, clean that off, and then let's bring in some liquid glue. And I'm just going to run a little bit of Tombow on all four edges here. Remember, dot, 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 not a lot. I don't want it oozing out. And then I'm just going to put some dots on some of these bigger areas on the leaves. Okay, and that'll just help hold that down some. And I don't need to worry so much about the center because we're going to put our focal image there, and that will help hold all that down too. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now we've got our card base in Early Espresso. And when we put that colored piece on our Early Espresso, that just gives it a wow. Now I'm going to turn this over. Take my bone folder and just smooth that out. That way that ink will move everywhere. And there we have it. Now you could stop here and just put a sentiment on there and some embellishments and be done. But that's not how I roll. So, moving on now. We've got two pieces from the branching out dies. Okay, I've used the third from the smallest and the second from the smallest. So this is Early Espresso and Basic White, and I've pre-cut those. Excuse me. And then we need a piece of Basic White for our sentiment, and we need to be able to stamp our image. So let's go ahead and grab the Early Espresso ink that we set aside. And we're going to set these aside for just a moment. We're going to ink up our pumpkins. These are from the Amber Autumn. I'm going to stamp those in Early Espresso on Basic White. And I'm going to do a better job of that because that was crazy. Okay. All right, so we've got that beautiful image. And then we're going to take the sentiment Autumn Wishes. And we're going to stamp this right here. Like that. It's not quite crisp and full. I mean, it looks good, but it's not. It needed a little extra pressure. There we go, much better. Okay, so that is done. And now I'm going to take my blending brush again. I'll let that dry for just a second because I don't want to smear my Autumn Wishes. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to color this. Okay, there is a die to cut this out, and I've pre-done that. And I've done some of the coloring to save us some time. And then also in this die set is this little leaf. And I've cut that out 3 times. And again, I've used my blending brush in the 3 colors to color my leaves. Now you could, if you wanted, just cut those out of regular cardstock, but I wanted them to, the colors to mimic what I've already done here. Okay? All right. So let's bring our Stampin' Blends in here. This is our color palette. Okay, let's make sure that's visible. Oh, yes, it does, Jennifer. I like how it pops. Okay, so we've got this. We've got the Natural Tones Deep SU 100. light pecan pie, light mossy meadow, light old olive. I've got the darling duckling combo, daffodil delight combo, dark timid tiger, and light Cajun craze. Okay, now I colored the wheat, and I actually cheated with the wheat, you guys. If you have wild wheat Stampin' Blends still on hand from when they retired, go ahead and pull that out. I used it on the wheat, but you could use the darling duckling if you don't have that one. So on my gourd here, I used, let me get my notes because I actually made this card a week ago. The gourd has darling duckling with the daffodil delight combo. So I just took and put darling duckling over those artist lines and then colored it in with the daffodil delight blends. For this maple leaf, I used the light pecan pie, and then I colored over that with darling duckling, both light and dark. I used the dark in the center part and on the outside. And then for these leaves here, I used the Cajun Craze combo and then filled it in with the dark Daffodil Delight. Okay, these are Darling Duckling and Daffodil Delight. And then I've used Old Olive and Light Old Olive and Light Mossy Meadow here and on this greenery. And then for the stem, I started with Light Old Olive, added a little bit of pecan pie, and then finished it off with the SU 100. And I did that on both stems. So now I'm going to show you how I colored the pumpkin. Okay, just so, because I like to mix my colors. So I'm going to show you how and why I do that. Okay, so I'm going to take the dark Cajun Craze, and I'm going to go where the artist lines are that show where it should be the darkest. And I'm just going to flick in a little bit of color here. I'm not trying to fill it all the way in. I'm just trying to get a little bit of darkness here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back with that light Cajun Craze. And I'm going to go over that dark. And I'm going to bring this down part way. And I'm going to go along the edges here where the shadow might be. Okay. And over here. And then I'm going to flick up from the bottom. That just helps me stay in the lines. Does it always work? No. Okay, so now I've got that. And with the Cajun Craze, you get, that's kind of too dark of a pumpkin for me. I needed some brightness, so I'm going to go back with the dark Timid Tiger. I'm going to mix a little bit here into the light Cajun Craze. Just to blend that all in. Okay, and there is my pumpkin. Okay. So now this is ready for our card. And we've got our autumn wishes. So we're going to bring in our blending brush again. And I want this to be light. So I'm not re-inking. I'm using the ink that's already on there. I did not like the stark whiteness against the white label. And regular old olive and even the two-tone were too dark for my liking. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, and you guessed it, I'm going to fussy cut this. Okay. And remember, when you're fussy cutting sentiments, well, one, you can draw with a pencil and then follow your lines, but you get the best fussy cutting results when you drive the paper with your non-dominant hand and just open and close the scissors with your dominant hand. And there's no prize for she who has the longest scrap of cardstock left. So go ahead and get that out of your way, and then just keep cutting. I fussy cut a lot of sentiments because Stampin' Up just won't give me what I want. So I fussy cut. Although I might have been able to use, they do have some new ones coming called Words of the Season, and they have dies. But I think that Autumn Wishes was way too big for what I need. Okay, so now we're going to take this. We're going to add our row. Let's get rid of this before we get green on the white where we don't want it. Thanks, Tracy. Okay, so I'm going to take and put a little bit of Stampin' Seal, which is right in front of my nose here, on the back of my branching out die. And I'm going to center this the best I can. Okay. And then we're going to take another new product that's coming out. Actually, we're going to take two. Oh, I don't know what that is from. All right, and we're going to take this new irregular weave trim. Okay. And I just need a little of this. Now, what I've discovered with this, this is kind of a stiff ribbon, but you know what? If you it cuts in half well, and if you want it to soften up, just take your bone folder and soften it. It does work well. Okay, but that doesn't matter for our purpose today. We just need to cut a piece that's going to go across here. Okay, and then we'll put this away. I didn't make a ribbon saver for this one because I didn't think it would work well. So I'm just using a pen to hold it. Okay, so then we're going to take our pumpkins. We're going to set these about right here. And that means I want to put this about right here. Whoa, and of course I moved it, but it'll be fine. And then I'm going to take this over to the back, grab some tear and tape. You could use Scotch tape. This is what I have handy. And it works really well, so why not use it? Okay, and I'm just going to put a little bit of tear and tape right there to hold that in place. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. But before I really get that in, I need to make sure that that's where I want it, because I think that's too low. I think we're too low. Yep. We need to be able to get this here. Okay, there we go. Boop. And let's put that back down. And then we'll pull this one over. I always like to double check to make sure I've got it where I want it, because once I really burnish that down, I'm stuck. And I don't like being stuck. Okay, so that's exactly what I want. Now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to burnish that tear and tape. so that it doesn't come off. And we're going to go ahead and pop this up anyway, so that's going to work. All right. Oh, we're not going to pop it up. We're going to glue it down. Okay. So I'm just going to take some liquid glue. And then I'm going to add this right here like so. Again, I'm going to try to center it as best I can. That in. Then we'll get some dimensionals, and I should have grabbed out more, but I didn't. Silly me. It's okay, I've got them handy. Okay, let's go with this. I'm going to cut off that. Always use the edges of your Stampin' Dimensionals. You paid for them. You should use them. Okay, let's just put this down about right. It's going to be a problem, I can tell. But with dimensionals, you can kind of manipulate them. I'm going to move this one down a little bit here on the end, just so it doesn't show. And there we go. Just show it who's boss and manipulate it how you want it. Okay, then we're going to stick this right here, like so. And then we're going to add dimensionals to our piece here, but we need to put these toward the center because we're going to stick in some leaves and we need to make sure that we have room to do that. Okay, I think I'm okay if I add another dimensional down here on the corn. So I don't want that to smush. And then I'm going to add this right up here because I'm not adding any leaves at the top. Okay, so we've got that. I think I've got all those off. And then we'll add this right here, like so. Okay, and then we're going to grab our leaves. Now I'm going to pay attention to where I'm putting what colors, because here I've got a bunch of duckling and Cajun Cray. So I'm going to put my green, my old olive over here, along with my Cajun Crays. Oh, I might have to cut that stem just, nope, I got it. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do with this, I've got those two situated how I want them. I'm going to pick these up together as one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue them and stick them back under there. Just like that. Okay, so I've got that. And then we're going to take this one over here. And I'm going to put this one right in here like so. Okay, so again, just a little bit of liquid glue at the end. Slide this under between Stampin' Dimensionals. Come on. I had it. There we go, just like that. There we go. Okay. So now I've got that. Okay, so I've got that. And then the final touch. Oh, nope, not the final touch. We're going to go ahead and add an old olive linen thread bow. And this is also one of the new products coming out in the Holiday Mini. It's part of the Autumn Toile suite, which this is part of. So I'm going to take some Old Olive linen thread. You get Old Olive and Early Espresso in the pack, and you get 15 yards of each. So that should last you a good long time. Okay, so then we're just going to tie a little double bow here. I'll cut that off, trim it up, and then we'll take that and a glue dot, and we'll stick that right in the middle of the glue dot. Take our tweezers, scrunch that glue dot up on the linen thread bow, and then I'm just going to put this right here, just like that. Okay, now finally we're going to add some gems, which I forgot to pull out of my goodie box here. So let's get those. Crayon Craze and Gold Dots. These two are these are the September 2025 online exclusive product offering. So we're going to take a large one and we're going to put it down here like so. And then we'll take a medium one and we'll put it there. And then I'll take a little small one and put it over there. Okay. And I'm happy with that, so I'll go ahead and press it down with the tip of my Take Your Pick tool, which I could not live without, or craft without, I should say. And then let's take our inside piece that we pre-made. And I did not put any other type of sentiment in there. I think I'm going to go this way. And then we're just going to put this in here, and this card is complete. Okay, matching envelope. Good to go. All right. I hope you liked that. Thank you, guys. I'm so glad you did. Our next card also features new product. It is featuring the Love and Courage stamp set, which is our fundraising, making a difference stamp set. What did I do with my early espresso? Because I still need that. Okay, this is actually quite a simple card. Okay, so let's move this one out of the way. Bring it back in later. Oh, thanks. Thanks, you guys. I'm so glad you like that card. Okay, so for this color palette, we're using Strawberry Slush and Early Espresso for our ink pads. Like I said, this is the Love and Courage Making a Difference stamp set. Stampin' Up! At the last quarter of the year does a give back, and whenever you purchase this stamp set, or anyone purchase it, $3 of the cost of this goes to a nonprofit. And this year we're supporting cancer, and so these are going to cancer agencies. Okay, and I think they said breast cancer, but I'm not 100% sure. We're also going to be using the Pack Your Bags Twine 3-pack, specifically Strawberry Slush. Again, our card base is Early Espresso and a standard A2, 5.5 by 8.5, and scored in the center at 4 1/4. Okay. Now I've taken ahead of time a piece of Pretty in Pink two-tone cardstock. Okay. And I ran it through the sunflower embossing folder, which if you haven't gotten that, you really, really need it. And I don't know where I put that. I thought I had it in my bucket, but I'm not seeing it, so it's okay. Anyway, oh, here it is right here in my pile. Oh, that's why I can't see it. It's right here. This is one of those great big ginormous ones. I think it's $12.50. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. It's been in and out of stock. It's currently in stock, or it was this morning when I looked. And what I've done is I've taken the light side, right? This is the dark side. I want the light side and I want it to be debossed. So I put the dark side against the Stampin' Up logo here. And then I picked where I wanted my pattern to go. And I ran that through the cut and emboss machine. Okay, that's sandwich 1, plate 1, and plate 4, along with this sandwich here, the folder and the paper. Okay, so what you get then is this is the emboss side on the dark, but I want the deboss side on the light. So that's what we're going to use. And I'm going to take my little sanding block and the two-tone paper is white core. I'm just going to rough this up just a little bit. I'm not going to get too crazy. Okay, and that's just going to bring out a little bit of that white core. All right, and look like it's a little distressed, because anybody going through breast cancer is a little distressed, right? Okay, so we can go ahead and add this. No, we cannot. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can add this to our piece because our other piece is going clear across. So I don't need to cut anything off. Okay, so I'm just going to use liquid glue because I always like to use liquid glue when it's especially a 3D. Okay, because I want that glue to get into all those nooks and crannies. So we're just going to take this and we're going to lay this down. And again, we're just going to center it up as best we can. Liquid glue gives you a minute to move things if you don't like where it's at. Okay, and then just like I like to do, I'm going to spread that glue out. So I'm going to use my bone folder. Okay, so now we have the front of our card. And I have a little bit of excess glue right there. That's okay. All right, now we need a piece of basic white. I've got a scrap piece here, and I've got a sentiment piece here. Okay, let me wipe up that glue. That's going to get everywhere. All right. And on our sentiment piece, this piece is 7/8 of an inch. And when it's done, it's going to be the full 4 1/4. This is bigger than that at the moment because that gives me more wiggle room if I don't get my sentiment centered. So I just left it long. Okay, so we're going to use early espresso and the sentiment. Let me, hang on, where is my, there it is. I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to test it to see if it's going to stamp the way I think it should. Yep. Okay. Just want to make sure. Better to be safe than sorry. I'm just going to stamp that right there. Okay. So that's that. Now we'll set this aside to dry. And we'll bring in strawberry slush. And from the Love and Courage set, which this sentiment that we just stamped is also from, we're going to use this large stamp right here. But I only want the sunflowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my strawberry slush and I'm going to get my scrap paper because I don't want to stamp where I don't want it. And I'm going to line that up on my scrap paper. And then I'm going to take this and turn it upside down. And I'm just going to ink half if I can. Okay. And that's looking like, hang on. Do you see how that's bubbling? That's no bueno. So I'm going to take and press my ink down with a back of just a metal spoon. And then I'm going to clean that off. And I'm going to try again. Okay. And that way I won't get all those bubbles. This is one of those that we used to call a distinctive stamp. So it's very important that you get all that. And hang on. What else do I see? I see a little black dot in the middle of my center there. And I don't want that, because that's going to show up on my project. And nobody wants a spot. Okay, sweetie. So let's go ahead and ink that up again. I'm going to put this down. And we're going to ink this up like that. And then we're going to do it a second time because we need two. Okay, it looks like I got all of that. And I'm going to turn this. And I'm going to stamp that. Okay. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm also going to bring in my insert piece. And while this is stamped where it is, I've stamped it off on my paper. Now I'm going to stamp it again here. And then I'm going to ink it up one more time. And I'm going to put it on my envelope. Okay. All right. So we've got that. Now we have all of our pieces. Okay. Now this, there's no dies for, so you have to fussy cut this. And through the magic of television, I've already done that. Okay. So we've got those. And those are ready for our card. Now we're going to take this, and we're going to see, this is 5.5, and I need it to be 4.25. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to cut off, I'm going to cut off that much. And then I'm going to see what it looks like when I do this. That's still going to be too long. I shouldn't have cut that much. 4 and, yeah, I need it to be 4.25. Okay. So I've got that. All right. And that's good because I need a little bit of extra over here on this side for our ribbon trim. Okay. So before we put this down, we're going to get that strawberry slush ribbon. Okay. And I cheated on this bow because I tried to do it the right way and it didn't work. So what I'm going to actually do, I'm going to turn this over. Come on. I got a cramp in my thumb. I'm going to wrap this 3 times. Okay. And then I'm going to tie it on the back side. Okay. Just going to tie that as tight as I can. And if you need help, get your reverse tweezers and hold on to that. Okay. Now we're just going to knot this. This is what was easiest for me. You, of course, if you're more coordinated than I am, you can do it your way. But this is what worked best for me. Okay. So now I've got my ribbon trim here, like this. And now I'm going to take my twine and I'm going to make a bow. Buddy, why did you wait till he went to the shower? Sorry, you guys, the cat's like, I want out now. You're gonna have to wait, bud. I'm almost done. Okay. So then we're just gonna tie that up. Can you guys hear that cat? Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Okay, so then we're gonna take this. We're gonna set that aside. And we're gonna add this to the front of our card, roughly in the middle. And we're going to do that with Stampin' Dimensionals. And hopefully we have enough of those left. Okay, and I'm going to put these right in the center because I need to stick those pieces underneath. Okay, so we're going to do this like that. So you see how I put those right down the center? Now I can stick my sunflowers where I want them. I can slide them right underneath. Come on. Okay. And then we'll just take this, line it up on the edge, and let's make sure that's even. I like to lay it against the glass mat. Okay. And then it looks like I have just a hair longer than what I need. So I'm just going to take my scissors and snip that even. Okay. Now we're going to take this and we're going to slide that under there like that. Okay. So I'm just going to take some liquid glue and I'm just going to put it in the center because I want these. Why do I wait until I already have the glue on? You guys, I do it all the time. You'd think I'd learned, but no, I don't. Okay, then I'm going to stick that right in there. We're not going to do that this time. This time we're going to get it right. I'm going to curl our edges. Now you can use your bone folder or you can use your thumbnail. And I'm just going to put some glue there in the center. And I'm going to stick this right underneath here, like so. Okay. Now we have we have this to put on, and then we have some gems. And this card will be finished as well. Okay, so let's get our, what did I do with the, oh, they're put away where they belong. I'm going to take my twine and a glue dot, and I'm going to face this direction so it doesn't cover up my sentiment. Give that a good press. Okay. And then finally, we're going to take the Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems. These are from the May 2025 online exclusives release, so they're available today. And we're going to use the Strawberry Slush. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to stamp my heart right there, peoples. You know what? I'm gonna add that, but I'm gonna not do it. I'm not gonna try to stamp it on there because that could be disastrous. So let's just go ahead and grab 3 of these, put those down. Okay, let's grab that. Let's grab a scrap. I thought I had an extra little scrap here. Let's use this. Okay, we're going to take this heart. This is also from Love and Courage. And I'm going to stamp this off. I want this to be kind of light. Oh, here's that piece of paper I was looking for. And then we're just going to stamp here. Now, of course, there isn't a die for this, and ordinarily, had I been paying attention, I would have stamped this right here, but I didn't. So I'm just going to stamp it and fussy cut it because I want it on there. Now, do you have to do this? Absolutely not. Your card, you do you. I just thought this was a little nice touch to let somebody know you're thinking about them. Okay. And then we'll just take a little bit of, you know what, liquid glue will be easiest. Let's just do that. And I'll stick this right here. And there you have it. Card number 2. Now we're going to take our innards that we pre-did. And we'll add this. Tracy, you can hear, buddy. Yeah, you're right. If it is the kids, it's the cat. Okay. And then we have our envelope. So there is our card. That's card number 2. Pretty simple. And then here's card number 1. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I should be back on YouTube Thursday night with another card. And of course, we'll be using new product so that you can see how things work. And I hope to see you soon. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.